and today I am here to do a book review for a graphic memoir that just came out last month, which was June 2023. And it is called Monstrous, a Transracial Adoption Story by Sarah Myer. Now, before I go any further, I do want to give some trigger warnings that this book does describe and depict bullying, mental health differences, and anti-Asian racism, as well as bullying slurs that were popular in the 1990s, like the R word. Okay, so now you know that, and so I'm assuming if you're still with me, again, this is a graphic memoir, which means that the story is told not just with words, but also, with pictures. And it is the story of our author, Sarah Myer. Sarah is an American adoptee from South Korea, and she's adopted by white parents and grows up in this rural community without many other Asian people around. And I myself am adopted, and I have adopted siblings that also came from South Korea, just like Sarah does. And so I had actually heard about this book several months ago, and I've been looking forward to reading it ever since. All right, so we start the book off with Sarah and their sister Lizzie finding the paperwork from Korea related to their adoption. And I'm going to try and show some imagery here. Here they are with mom, and it's the parents in this book are both so sweet. But I just thought this was like a nice, lovely scene to kick off the book with, where mom explains what adoption is and how much the kids are loved and wanted, even if we don't know the story of their biological parents. All right. So Sarah spends a lot of time in this book taking readers on their journey into becoming an artist, which obviously at some point they become a successful artist because Sarah wrote and illustrated this book. This actually starts with seeing the Little Mermaid, which is magic. And so this is, I believe, when Sarah's about 3 or 4, and they go to the theater with the family and just discover that movies are made by artists who have created a bunch of drawings and turned it into this cartoon. And so this is really the beginning of where Sarah starts exploring art and begins to draw all the time, especially mermaids or Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So from the beginning, art is definitely Sarah's escape, and it's really important. And I mean, Sarah is obviously very talented nowadays, but also it looks like very talented even back when they were really young. There's a lot about Sarah's art journey into becoming an artist in this book, but a lot of this book also follows Sarah through their childhood and into teen years, and some of the things that shaped Sarah's life. So in preschool, Sarah starts to realize that they're a little different, and we can see this, and again, try and show some imagery. We can see this when Sarah just wants to play mermaids or Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles at preschool, but all the other kids they're not interested. And so we're already starting to feel a little different and othered. And that feeling of being different continues throughout Sarah's childhood and does unfortunately start to turn into bullying. So one of the early bullying scenes we witness is when another student tries to copy Sarah's art, which is down here, and claim it as her own. And this causes Sarah's anger to really flare up, and that we see just over here in one of the next panels. And then that's when Sarah depicts themselves as monstrous, which is where we get our book's title. So that anger makes Sarah feel like a monster inside. Now, a lot of Sarah's bullying is related to just being a kid who likes things like anime, which was not popular like it is now, and cosplaying, and just having kind of a harder time connecting with other people. But a lot of that bullying is related to their race as a Korean American. And it's actually, really heartbreaking to read and see it depicted, especially when Sarah is really young. And so this is one of those early scenes where another girl says, um, "You're, let's say, see you later, flat face," which is just cruel. And so Sarah is still quite young here and doesn't realize just how racist, this child's words are, but does begin to see how, the association that maybe there is something wrong with being a Korean American in this community that has very little diversity. And again, it's just kind of heartbreaking. And that unfortunately does continue into our high school and teen years. And so here in high school, the bullies get louder and meaner and more overtly racist. And unfortunately, too, what Sarah and their family ends up dealing with is some school administrators who choose to ignore these very real and sometimes physical bullying episodes. Now, along the way, mom and dad are very supportive, and they just seem like the loveliest people. I don't want you to think that this book is a big downer that's only about bullying, because it's not. There is a lot of joy in it as well. For example, Sarah's dad takes Sarah to a Comic-Con, and he's so sweet. He gets way into Sailor Moon just so she has somebody to talk to about Sailor Moon. Anyway, I don't want to give too much of Sarah's story away because I think you should read it. But I will say that obviously we know that Sarah does become a successful artist and graphic novelist. What I think I liked best about this book was Sarah Myer's ability to use art to show the difference between their internal and external life. So you get a lot of imagination depicted, both the monster and the happy, what's it like to be a mermaid kind of things. And the art also does a really amazing job in conveying facial expressions and body language, and you look at these images and you know how Sarah is feeling or reacting to something. So what Sarah goes through is quite heart-wrenching and scary, and even if a reader isn't a transracial adoptee like Sarah is, this book is still going to benefit a lot of people and hopefully encourage those who are being bullied to ask for help. And in fact, Sarah does include information at the end for resources and support. So that is nice to see. And they're actually right before some actual images of Sarah and their family. So I always like to see those too. So anyway, I really enjoyed this memoir. It's a unique perspective and one that really interested in me. And so I hope if you are someone who knows an adoptee, or you're just looking for a good book to read, and graphic novels can be read pretty quickly, that maybe you will give Monstrous, a Transracial Adoption Story by Sarah Myer, a try.